Whoa. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. I don't know what that was. Welcome back to another live stream here on Twitch.tv/TheAssumer. We got noises in the ear already. My goodness me. Ben is Boss 32 resubscribed for 3 months saying, "Hi X, love your videos. Keep up the good work." Thank you so much, Ben is Boss. I appreciate that. Craft a Hero resubscribing with Amazon Prime. Ikamaru with the Prime. Zachariah for 13 months. And Spangle Boo for 29 months. My goodness me. Thank you ever so much, everyone, for your tremendous support as always. Grian in chat, not that Grian, the other one. The one whose name is pronounced Grian, not Giarian. Don't get it twisted. In chat there saying, oh, well there it is. It's still on the screen. Is the darker GUI in Vanilla Tweaks? It is. For a second there, I thought I'd missed the question. GG, almost an immediate derp, right? You expected nothing less, I'm guessing. Banana phone, says Silver Pagolia. Thank you everyone for all the bananas in chat. I appreciate it as always. It lets me know that we're live. Before the stream we had a little bit of a pre-stream issue of some sort. Just couldn't get the program to stream. I had to restart it several times and then eventually it decided, alright, I'll stream. So I was like, okay. Yeah, I said that out loud. I was talking to the program, you know. It was talking to me and all of that. These things over here I think are pretty full up. Let's actually have a little pop up here. We've got StarCraft music on today, and I just kind of realised how un-Minecrafty StarCraft music is, but I love it. We're going to have it on anyway. Woo! Look at all of these seeds. They are going to get recycled. But we're not really hanging around too long over here today. We are finding the way out of this place. Yes, we are. We've got a noise in the ear from Xkashi, subscribing with Amazon Prime. Reckless Raccoons for 2 months. And PSAP Gaming, subscribing with Amazon Prime. Also, Aprover is here for 19 months, saying 2 Twitch babies and working on another. Appreciate it ever so much, dude. Thank you. And more noises coming in. Crazy noises, because we got the Black Ranger PL resubscribing for 40 months in a row. Saying 40 months, that's quite a lot. Cheers from my vacation in Spain. The weather is so much better here than in my homeland, says the Black Ranger. Yeah, funny story for you. You know, beautiful weather out in Rome. Gorgeous kind of heat and warmth and sunshine, and it was lovely. It was not too hot to be sweltering. It was just right. You could walk around in it. And then I come home and it's been nothing but rain. You know, I will admit I missed the rain a little bit, but you know, it's just done nothing but rain. Oh, welcome to the U of K. Mr. Platypus Prince is here, resubscribing for 16 months, saying, "I'm super hyped for the new Nether. Can't wait for when it comes out." Might be a while. We're going to get 1.15 in this year, and then 1.16 is next year. 2020 hype, you know, and all of that. X, do you think the Piglin Beast should drop leather, says Catstithe? I really think when they introduce new things, they should expand the tech tree of the game, or fill in the gaps, as opposed to just doubling up on stuff. I feel like this game has gotten considerably easier. In some ways I like that, and sometimes I think that's good, and in other ways not so much. Do you know what I like? I kind of like how this clay here just kind of recesses. I think I might just roll with that. I just might roll with it, homie, you know? I might just go with that flow. Yeah. Hog is here, subscribing with Amazon Prime, so is Danger1754, and Yotako03 for 6 months. Thank you ever so much, peeps. Appreciate your support as always. Estelian says, "Peeps, X isn't going to be a slave to go where you demand. He'll shop when and when he wants to, so please don't spam chat." Yeah, Estelian, what are you talking about? Like, you know, whenever anyone spams something in chat, I immediately go and do it. I think you need to take your medication. Jeez. I mean, when have I ever been known for ignoring chat's requests? That's just not something I would do. Oh, I would never ignore you, chat. I Love Cats says... don't worry, I'm not going to read that one. Yotago says, shop at the idea store. It's not even got stuff for sale in yet. Like I'm just going to do exactly what you say. Like I'm going to do exactly what you say. Okay, I need wood. I need wood in here. Wood. Oh, it's the wrong one. I need logs, not wood. I need logs. We want logs, we want the clay, we want all the brown ones, and I'm picking all the wrong ones. Here we go. Here we go. I also have something to fix around the side here. X, what do you think about the honey block? I thought it was interesting. Didn't think it was particularly groundbreaking, but it depends. I think if it interacts with slime blocks well, then it has the potential to be a very, very interesting block. Very interesting, I say. So interesting that I don't know. There we go. We need some more of that. Yeah, I think it's got potential, but initially not terribly excited. However, the target block and the honey block, they're kind of like mini game blocks, right? Maybe they'll add a couple more in and make mini games more interesting within the game. Who knows? It's not really. I don't think we're going to get anything groundbreaking. If you've listened to me talk about updates over time, you can probably tell that I kind of like want something that's going to really change the shape of the game. However, if you listen to how the developers talk about it, it's pretty obvious that they're not going to rock the boat by now. Listening to their Q&A panel, I kind of realised we're not going to get like a new minecarts or a new redstone system. They're going to keep things pretty much suited to the game as it currently is, and that's pretty fair, I think. It's better to have a plan and execute it than to kind of fumble without one. So all good, I reckon. All good. X, have you and the team considered using 64 textures for vanilla tweaks? We have not, because it is vanilla tweaks, and it is about being like vanilla, just tweaking a few things. So vanilla doesn't have 64-bit textures or 32-bit textures, and therefore we're not going to either. It'd also be a mountain of work being created, and not work where it's like, you know, you maintain or change or tweak this thing. You're talking about having to make a ton of stylistic decisions to say what these textures are going to be like, and that's just not something I'm interested in. When they add piglins to the snapshot, can you make a farm for them? Yeah, probably. I mean, I might make one. You'll probably see loads of YouTubers jump on it straight away. We're at that point now where farms are just saturated. It's like the same concepts get applied to new things, so they add something, someone comes along and farms it. That's just the way it goes. What I'd really like to find is just a more... I'd like it if they added something where to farm it you didn't have to conform to the old mechanics, right? The vultures sounded like they might have been able to be exploited in some sort of new way, but we didn't get the vultures. Okay, yeah, that does look pretty clean. So if we rip out this glass here, I mean, it is just a big empty room, but I'm fine with that. I could also perhaps use some more clay on the ground, but that might look a little bit silly. I think we're probably going to end up using these slabs, light sources in these spaces maybe. I think I've got an idea for what we want to do down here. Gravel, also sand, also supposed to have no spaces free. Why am I leaving those spaces free? I don't know. We got noises in the air. Mr. Stu has resubscribed for 3 months in a row. Thank you ever so much, Mr. Stu. Also, Ozaka78 for 24 months. That's 2 years. That's a diamond face in chat. Thank you ever so much. It looks like a raid is happening. Some sort of pillager patrol right now. I saw you in my base. You looking at me? Are you looking at me? Get out of here, scamps. You troublemakers. No, I do not want to join your raid. Okay, let's get the guy behind. Hang on, hang on. I don't have my thing. Where's my thing at? Dude, be patient. Be patient, I tell you. They're not listening to me. I'm not ready for a fight. Oh, it's not in here. Hang on, hang on. Let me eat a carrot. Look. Come on, stop that. Play nice. Play nice. Where is it? Where is it? Is it in here? I don't think it's not in any of these chests. My goodness me, this is a really intense pillager fight. Oh my goodness me. Oh, I don't even have it in there. Where is it? Hang on a second. Is it already in my inventory? Have I derped? Oh, it was there all along. Oh, goodness me. Intense battle continues. Oh, my goodness me. Oh, it's so intense. Oh, what's going on? Oh, jeez. Oh, shall I? Hang on a second. Yeah, this might, that might speed it up, mightn't it? Yeah, good point. Good point, mate. You know, you're a little bit jealous of your friend there. You know. Oh, God, I'm almost dead. Oh, what will I do? Oh, no. Oh, okay, we won. Right, let's go put this over here. And then put these things away. That was a very intense battle. You know, I'm not sure I'm going to recover from that one. Might as well put this away as well. Then I'm probably going to find out I need it a moment later. That's how this game works. You try to be tidy, but no, you need it. Hey, I got a pillager head. That's cool. That's cool. We had noises in the ear. Simple Cyrus 79 has resubscribed for 3 months. Thank you ever so much, Simple Cyrus. I appreciate your support ever so much. And K-Dads has resubscribed for 22 months, saying, hope you enjoyed your holiday, X. You deserve it, but glad to have you back at it. Thank you, K-Dads. Appreciate that. I'm glad to be back. I saw a message in chat. It just went off the screen. Have I, what was it called? Wish listed Doom Eternal. I wasn't aware that it was like on the shop page ready for people to do that yet. I very much am going to play Doom Eternal. Hopefully I have the time for that. I should do. It shouldn't be difficult to squeeze that in because that'll be like no editing, basically. You'll get some unedited Asuma, you know? Like you've never seen it before. You've never been in a place where I'm not edited. Think about that, eh? You know? What do you mean this is live? No, it's pre-recorded. Jeez. I just, you know, edited out some F-bombs earlier and whatnot, you know? That's why I don't do these streams, you know? It's all pre-recorded. Wait a minute. Talk about confusing yourself. Oh man, I love this song. This music's so great. This is like my childhood right here. It's so cheesy as well. I love it. So I kind of envision that these tiles here will just be a natural extension. But then it's like, what can we do with the space around it to make it a little bit more interesting? Do I want to... That's the wrong block. Do I want to throw in some of this stuff out here? Just keeping it simple, you know. I could even just lower this a slab as well. That might look sort of interesting. Have a bit more depth on the floor. And then that could be a lighting block of some sort. Croaky voice. Croaky voice. Then we got Yellow Harold resubscribing for 42 months. 42 months, my goodness me. 42. I checked it very thoroughly. Why do I feel like there's a joke there I don't get? 42. Like 230 at the dentist, all of that. Thank you so much, Harold. Appreciate it. Sandertan1 has subscribed to Amazon Prime as well. Thank you ever so much for your Prime subscription. I appreciate your support. And I hope you enjoy the stream. I think Redstone Lamps might not look so bad squeezed into those spaces. Oh, the chest monsters are here again. They're here again. Just tuned in. What are you planning for the stream? Says Soren in the sky. Just chill out, hang out, relax in, max in. It ain't too taxing. Yeah, I'll put those in like that, I think. Yeah, just doing odds and sods as we always do. Maybe do some design work for that tower that we looked at yesterday. I was really liking the one on the plot world. I was thinking I might just kind of keep that in my head and build something off the cuff on here. I also got some resource gathering to do for the Hexa-Bee project, so you know I'm kind of looking at focusing on those two things for this stream. There we go. X, can you use Rainbow XP one day? Says Prince of Clash. I could do. I don't really feel like I need to though. I don't mind the XP bar as it is. It doesn't bother me. So we will put some light sources down here. And we're probably going to need a light source around here. So I'm going to put that there. And we'll just have this path kind of come across into the central area, and the rest of the room will be slabbed, so the lighting doesn't really have to cover too much. What the? Focus, focus. Please, let's focus. Wow, X, I didn't notice you were streaming before you turned on the light, says Cats. What are you talking about? By the way, I got a hot cup of tea here. Oh, lovely. X, are you going to stream Dungeons when it comes out? Yes. Cat says confusing X is fun. What do you mean confusing me is fun? How on earth could that ever be fun? I don't understand. Let's focus. Let's focus on things. Yeah, I'm totally going to play Dungeons. Dungeons looks awesome. It's based on Diablo, and you know we stream Diablo music here sometimes, so I'm totally down with the clown on that one. Going to be playing some Dungeons, and I was glad to hear it has updates in the future, as I imagine it's like, I'll play through it, it'll be fun, it'll be a good thing to stream, and then every now and then we'll stream it again whenever there's a new update, basically. Oh, this is going to cost us a lot of logs doing it like this. Oh, the log price just went through the roof. Let's do it that way around. And we need to make some more redstone lamps now. Yeah, I think that's going to be nice, tidy, easy on the eye look in here. Nothing super fancy. It's got a cool atmosphere to it. Cat says, I hope it'll be done right. We can just wait and see. It looks good. It looks like it captures the spirit. My thing is, I just think I'm probably beyond that now. Like, when it comes to priorities in life, gaming really isn't one for me. So, every now and then I have these sort of like nostalgia thoughts of like, oh, Diablo 2, I'll play that again one day. Probably never will. But having the excuse to play Minecraft Dungeons, like, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll do that. But I don't think I'm going to get crazy into it, if you know what I mean. And spend ages like grinding out levels. I'm just going to play it through and have some fun. That'll be my goal. So we need a bunch of andesite now is the problem. And there is some, it's just all the way back at my base. As always, it's somewhere else. Your princess is in another castle. Is what's happening right now. Let's make some lamps. Let's do the lamps first, since we can stay here and do that, I guess. But then the slabs will be the last thing left, so I guess a little trip to get the andesite and finish it off is alright. Hey X, what is the Hexa-Bee project? We'll fly past there in a little bit, Eric boy. We'll fly past there in a little bit, because we've got to go get some andesite. Speedster SV says, gaming is not a priority, isn't it your job? I think my job is being entertaining in Minecraft. Being creative, entertaining people. It's not like actual hardcore gaming in my mind. Asuma, I have took your answer very seriously, and now I'm going to make my own server with the data packs. Cool, good luck with it. Minecraft Earth's tech that oots in people in builds is simply amazing. The oots people in builds. It does oot them in, doesn't it? We got noises in the ear from Daniel X Dodoroso. Subscribe with Amazon Prime. Logic Non has subscribed with the Prime for 3 months. Thank you so much. Herminator is here for 7 months, saying 2 more months to that Twitch baby. Just like my IRL baby. Oh, congratulations. That's wonderful. I hope everything goes well for you with the labour and the birth and the child. I guess when I see you in 2 months, there'll be 2 Twitch babies. See what I did there? Yuki Y is here for 3 months, saying, Morning X, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the holiday. Thank you, I enjoyed it ever so much. It was really inspiring, and really just to take your mind out of whatever it is you do for a while and then come back to it. Gives you kind of like a renewed look on it. Like, I just feel like I got caught into a little bit of a YouTube trap before I went. Of like, gotta get some videos prepared, gotta do this, gotta do that, and kind of I was really like working my way through it all. And now that I'm back, I'm kind of like, I took a break from that, but I didn't need to do that. So now I'm looking at my next few days as like one at a time, and what can I be productive with, and how am I going to do this the best way I can? Just, I don't know, I've just got this like renewed mindset for keeping myself in a good spot, I guess. That's how I feel right now. And hopefully we'll be able to keep that going. X, are you hyped for Snowier Snow, says Legend Platypus? I don't know, like, it seems a little bit silly. There's other places where we need colour gaps or textures filled in. Like, if they added a certain type of texture, they could really enable a new style of building, for example. We talked about the Roman roofs, like roofing blocks. I think they should consider that to some extent. I really think something could be done there in a Minecrafty way that wasn't over the top or anything. But I doubt that they would be, you know, considering it that way. So by adding Snowier Snow, I mean, what is that snow going to do? It's got to have a good technical use. Otherwise, it's just like you've just, you know, doubled up on a snow block. And there's other blocks this game could be crying out for. Could be, you know. Who's to say? More woods. What are we doing here? All the woods go down the bottom. Should the wood go at the bottom? I don't know why I'm trying to rhyme. It's not even funny. I am missing something, aren't I? Something has tried to oh, there it is. It's tried to escape. The chest monster tried to escape. Okay, so all we need is andesite slabs. We're gonna return to this space with andesite slabs. That's easy peasy. Do the rest. Job done. Wonderful. Beautiful. We're going to put some of the leftover bits and bobs in there. In fact, I see some more leftover bits and bobs. Whoopsie. I mean, I'm literally just going to throw that block away. Also, these have a spot in here. How are we doing as well? Filling up slowly. Okay, and then all of this comes with us. I didn't put those redstone lamps away. I'm going to go fill up a couple of shulker boxes worth of cactus blocks as well. I forgot to follow your Twitter. I just did it now, says Happy by Storm. Thank you for following me on Twitter. I also have a brand new channel called Assume Says. If you've not heard me waffle about it before, it's a place where I put all my waffles. When I start waffling off about this thing or that thing, we make clips of it and they go on my second channel. Can you use your camera account for AFKing? We had a discussion in Discord about it. This is AC the Koala. We can't on Hermitcraft. I mean, I don't know if anyone else does. I don't think so. But you've got to remember, the camera account doesn't naturally interact with the world the way that the player does. So you'd have to change game modes in order to make that work. Hey, look, our cactus is filling up because we fixed it the other day. Isn't that a good thing? It's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing, I hear you saying. I agree. Have you made any texture packs or no, says he, X in Joz. I mean, Vanilla Tweaks is a thing. I started that, so I think that means yes is the answer. Another question comes to mind. Where am I going to smelt all of this? Probably just in my base. So, reason to head over there, I guess. Is the Waffle channel going to include clips about you waffling about your waffling, says Mr. Belden. If the level of quality about the waffle is high enough, you know. I could waffle about waffles as well. I haven't had a waffle while I was away. They sold waffles in Italy, and I didn't really get around to trying one. But that was mostly because they had Nutella spreads. There's a lot of Nutella spread. There was Nutella ice cream. I don't know. I have never like tried Nutella because it's got nuts on it. I'm just like, well, stay away from that. Because I can't eat certain types of nuts. I can eat other ones. And then they would offer like syrups. And there was never anything savoury you could put on it. I love waffles. And in fact, I told myself when I get back I'm going to buy some pancakes. And I'm just going to eat them with a tub of natural yogurt. Natural yogurt and pancakes, that's one of my favourites. Waffles and cheese, says Soko Builds. That sounds good. In fact, yeah, you can kind of mix waffles with a lot of things. Like someone saying chicken and waffles. I can see how you could mix it with some meat. Oh yeah, by the way, this is the Hexa-Bee project right here. We'll come back to this later on. Like, you might understand its name from this angle a little better. That's going to be a cool project. I really want to make it complement this and Mumbo's build style to some extent. But I've got some ideas for that, and we'll actually come back to that later in the stream. That's part of the plan of today's Liggity live stream. Ow! I smacked my face into the ground and cried out loud. Okay, we can put 2 full shulker boxes, a cactus in here, I believe. I believe that we can do that. I can also free up a little bit of space. Let's just put a couple things in here for now. Man, I just want to say this music's so good. Every stream, stop going on about the music. Jeez, I love it. So you have no idea how much I love this music. Actually, you probably do, because I keep waffling on about it. How long are your streams typically, says Alpac? They're usually 2 hours. Sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. When we were doing the pirate project intensely, they were going on a bit. And we will get back to that. I do not wish to neglect that project at all. Let's think about this. I still probably am going to need these for the flower project. But for now, I'm just going to, for the most part, I should probably assess what I'm going to do next. I will need to bring some andesite. That's more than enough. That's fine, though. So I should make sure I have a box or 2 for leftover things. So I'm going to be doing some tree growing, and we got a bone meal supply in our backpack or ender chest. I will need some prismarine blocks. But actually, I think we'll come back here and sort that out later, because I did actually want to work on the other projects right now. So, what materials? I've got a feeling I don't really have what I need, like, in bulk. Oh, I'm going to need that for my dyes. So, I'm going to glad I noticed that. Where did I get all that cocoa from? I'm going to need more. I'm going to need, like, a backup. So, we should go get some cocoa sorted out. Prismarine blocks. Yeah, I don't really have a lot of what I want to hand. I did want to... Oh, I do have a lot of bone meal there. I wanted to check this. Yeah, I've got more white concrete. We're going to reserve that for our Hexa-Bee project. And I will need glass over there as well, so... those things can get dropped off, basically. X, do you think Mojang is slow on updates? I mean, they're doing alright, but will they add bees in the nether? Or something small, like always, then combat, because they've been talking about it. This is 2 years they keep it up. They're doing 2 updates a year. I'd like for Minecraft to be updated a little bit more frequently, but I think you could saturate the value of the update if you did it too often. Oh, the combo of the music and the bass is incredible, says TremD. Thank you. Yeah, it does actually suit this place a little bit, because it's so... Oh, and there's like pylon shapes in here as well, but it's so... got that kind of mysterious astral vibe in here. Cool, I really do like this base layout. It was always intended to be its own little isolated thing, but scaling this up to perhaps a base layout where you have multiple rooms and corridors, it could be really fun. And that's one thing I like about playing a season of Hermitcraft, is having a good base plan. Now this season the plan was to not have a base and just have that outpost. So I'm really hungering for my own base area next season. What do you think if they added inventory memory, so you die and pick up your stuff, everything goes back to the exact same spot? Do you mean inventory game rule keep inventory true? Because that's like a thing already. By the way, we had some more noises in the ear. We have Matsabu for 9 months. That's a Twitch baby. Thank you ever so much, Matsabu. And Big Whitey for 4 months. Thank you ever so much for your support. It is truly appreciated, and I hope you enjoy the stream. Asuma, what would you think about Mojang making a cave update? Fortnite gamer, I'd like that. That would be cool. This music feels very 80s movie, says Ginger Not a Ninja. I could see that. I could see that. There's definitely some more 80s tones to it, but not like pure 80s kind of sound, is it? It's just a little bit of that going on. It's such a great... The music is just so embedded in like fond memories for me of just playing StarCraft. Could leave it like that there, couldn't we? Just have it like so. Oh, there's a block under there that used to wind me up so much. Got to get over things like that, peeps. Ain't worth your time. Ain't worth getting stressed out about. Assuming Season 7 starts around the time of the Nether update comes out, do you think you would focus on a Nether base, or do you have other plans in mind? Well, I had a very different plan in mind, and I've actually made a Nether base on my Let's Play Minecraft Together server. That was a lot of fun. If it happens to coincide with the Nether update, or we have the Nether update on here, I would totally encourage others to try playing in the Nether. It's really fun. Really gets you thinking different. However, if it was Season 7, I would be rather inclined to perhaps not participate to some extent, just because I think I would, if I were to do that again, I would like to have like some lengthy permanence to it. Alright, there we go. Basement of this building, pretty clean, pretty simple. Got to admit, this kind of looks a bit wimpy. Maybe a wall here would have been better, but I'm just going to leave it like that. It doesn't need to be super duper fancy. It's just a place to go pick up your berries, you know? Get your berries, your sweet, sweet berries. This will be a bridge, by the way, over to that area eventually. I feel like doing a little bit of that right now, but there's not really much point to it. Okay, so I did say that we would go fill up a box. Oh, eventually I got off the ground. And I'm the only one online of box with cocoa beans. Spangleboo says, we had a cheaty Nether with fire spread off and no ghast explosions. That's true, we have fire spread off on here. We would probably need to use the ghast explosions thing as well, which I know some hermits wouldn't like. In the group we've got some that are very pure vanilla, some that are like go with the flow, and others that don't mind stuff being modded, you know. It can be a little bit difficult to come to a middle ground sometimes, but usually the trick is just to, hey, just stick to the norm rather than upset peeps. So this has like perhaps not been loaded or recently harvested. I'm going to guess someone probably came over here and harvested it pretty recently. So we're probably not going to get like a full shulker box yield, but we'll give it a shot anyway. And I kind of need more inventory space, so I guess for now those things will get swapped around. Let's actually declutter a little bit by making more clutter. So chest can go in there. Building blocks to some extent. Glass, no, just building blocks. Stones and cobble, building blocks. Wrong one. Wrong one. I thought I had the right one, I had the wrong one. And I can't even open it. Cheese. Cheese, where's the cheese? Okily dokily, right. Okay, let's press these buttons. Let's harvest. Oh, goodness me. My frames disappeared for a second there. I should probably actually pick them up before I start getting too carried away here. There's a lot of items. This is quite nicely decorated as well. Remember when there were no shulker boxes? Says Wolfforce. Yeah, imagine if this season was played without shulker boxes. You could probably just look at all the builds and cut them in half, or maybe even less than that. Yeah, shulker boxes made a world of difference. I just think it should continue going in that direction. I think continue making it easier and easier. Like, what's really great about survival is the things that you build, you've like gathered for and you've worked hard for. But when the building is slow, it winds me up. It just feel like, nah, let's get closer to the creative bit. One grew instantly, says Jess. This one right here did. A rare moment in Hermitcraft history. Or Minecraft history. The Furious Brother says, remember Mumbo's perfect circle of items? That was funny. It wasn't funny for the rest of us playing on the server. Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. Hey X, what's your best way of recovering after dying and losing all your stuff, especially if you don't have backup items? you know, well, one, have backup items, but in theory, I try to play as if, like, death should never happen, so I'm always quite on my wits. But I've played this game for a long time, so you kind of just, like, learn how to deal with situations and mobs, like creepers, for example. Got to break the line of sight with them to stop them from exploding. Little things like that, just all the ways that you play smart and don't do stupid things, kind of keep yourself out of harm's way, I guess, is the philosophy. And then when you do die, it's not so much of a pain in the bum. The last time that I died, though, was just because of, like, server issues. I got, like, permanent rocket when flying in the Nether, and it was like, bang, hit a wall, bang, hit another wall, and like, for some reason just didn't stop accelerating for ages, and it was like, I don't know, driving a fast car and not having the brakes, and then eventually it just conked out and I died, and it was just so annoying. So I was like, it wasn't even my fault. I used a rocket and it kept going for ages and ages. Hey X, if have more questions about the Hermitcraft server that weren't answered, where do you suggest I ask them? Says Muscular. You could have asked a question right then, and I could have answered it. Just watched Hermitcraft 299, Professional Minecrafters. Made me laugh so hard, says Saltzers. That's the best episode of Hermitcraft ever, right there. I mean, yeah, it's hilarious. That's my favourite memory ever. People always ask me, like, you know, what's your favourite Hermitcraft memory? It's always that one. Nothing's going to top that. That was peak Hermitcraft. I should have quit at episode 300. We got a donation here. Noise in the ear from Rune Ear. Or Run Ear, maybe. Saying, with all the questions about Season 7, why do you even need to start a new server? Couldn't you guys just leave all your stuff behind and travel far away from your current areas? The only downside would seem to be a server file size, got ya. But that's hardly an issue nowadays. Yeah, I mean, it gets brought up a lot. First of all, thank you so much for the donation, by the way. I appreciate that. It gets brought up a lot, like, why don't you do that? And I think the reality is, yes, you can do that, but it never feels like a reset, knowing that you got all this stuff, and you're just going to be tempted to head back to the other area, and then you're going to kind of feel, like, rehabilitated by the fact that you don't have access to all that stuff. So I think there needs to be some permanence with a reset, which is why resets happen. Also gives you a chance to pick a new seed, take advantage of features or things that you couldn't do if you didn't have a hard reset, which there isn't really a lot of. It's just the way it goes, I guess. Can you zero-tick cocoa beans, says Hakashar. No, those can't be zero-ticked. You can zero-tick chorus fruit, which is actually a farm I was going to build in the Tower Bay area, and I now know where I'm going to build it, and I just reminded myself of all those plans that I have. All those wonderful plans. Just saw your help video about financial advice. It was such a help, says Tomb. I'm glad it was. I'm glad to hear that. I will probably at some point in the future end up remaking that video. What I plan on doing is, as we build up a catalogue of waffles, it gives me topics to return to that I can eventually put more thought into. So one day I kind of plan on making a bit more of a organised video, so it's not me going and taking suggestions from chat and like having that kind of flow to it. It's going to be very like orchestrated, like a proper video essay, because that's my long-term goals for that channel, is to slowly, you know, improve the quality content as we build an audience. And you know, these streams are just sort of the beginning of creating content over there. I mean, there might be a time when we just don't at all. What I could do is just stream, waffle about stuff, interact with all of you, and from there I would have the basis in which to create a better structure of content. Like we get all the ideas out of the head and we put them on the paper, so to speak. The paper is just, you know, the replay. But from there you can go, well, I got all of this discussion material here, so now I can put that into notes and better articulate it and cut out the ideas that are maybe not as effective or whatever, right? That's my sort of long-term plan for that channel at the moment. So many cocoa beans. I'm only going to get a few stacks out of this. I really should have waited until they were fully grown, I guess. Lesson learned. Probably not, actually. I've probably learned that lesson, or not learned it before, right? Run Ear. Thank you so much for the donation, by the way. I appreciate it. Hey, Asuma, do you believe Minecraft Earth will eventually overpass Pokemon Go in popularity when it comes out? I really don't know. I'm not invested in if it does or it doesn't. It could do, it might not. It's got the potential to become wildly popular. Maybe bigger than Pokemon Go. I'd say it probably depends on like long-term success. If they can emulate the fun of building in this environment into Minecraft Earth, then I think it's got the potential to be huge. But I've played Minecraft Earth. You know, I had the beta, or the alpha even, actually. I don't have the beta. It's weird. I had the alpha, but now I can't play the beta. It's very novelty, to be fair. Like, it's a real good bit of fun to check out. But then, if you want to build something, you kind of think back to this game as opposed to Minecraft Earth. So I think it needs some things attached to it that really sell it on its own merit. The whole exploring mechanism and gathering stuff is kind of redundant. Like, you're just wandering and then tapping. You know, maybe it's quite fun if you actually take a stroll outside, but like, the only time I'd ever play it is when we were traveling in the car. So the car was like driving past locations and I was just tapping, and it was kind of dull. But maybe if you're actually walking, it could be really fun. Vintage Trenchcoat says, is there a known zero tick for cocoa? There is not. There is not one. How do you do that with the cocoa beans? That was amazing. Oh wait, are we talking about the farm being harvested? I mean, it was just pistons in the above and below, pushing the blocks up and down. I built this farm, very similar farm. I think I harvested it with water though last season. In my base, it was just all these rooms for building farms, and each time I build one, I try and make it a little bit more interesting than anything I'd done before, which I believe we achieved to some extent. Man, if this is what it takes to get like cocoa beans, we're going to be here a long time, because my plan was to fill up this box, right? We didn't even listen to that music. Whoa! Jeez! Man, the presence of doom and evil. That's what that sounds like. Isn't that slick guitar right there? Love it. Tuxaban says, I thought the Earth bit of Minecon was the cringiest bit. People randomly tapping and swiping. It just doesn't translate to video format. Damn, that guitar's good. You know, the whole cringy thing. The entire time I was watching Minecon, I knew people would be sitting back and talking about how cringy this is and stuff like that. I couldn't care less. Like, you can see when a conversation hits a bit of a wall, or it's awkward, or like you got to jump from one spot to the next. I think it's really good that Minecon kind of actually works with more amateurish people, because they get people from inside the community to do it. And, you know, if they hired a bunch of slick professionals that are really good at all that stuff, it would look squeaky clean. There'd be none of that air quotes cringiness, but like, it wouldn't be people from Minecraft then, would it? You know, and so they bring in a bunch of actual Minecraft fans and enthusiasts and get all the developers involved, and that's actually really great. But because of that, you know, not media trained, are they? There's going to be some of that awkwardness, and just let it go. Like, it's easy. Now, what's interesting about the whole cringy thing, which we talked about in a stream just a little while ago, is I was saying how, like, I'm not bothered by the whole cringy thing, and I actually found a thread on Reddit where people were talking about how unbelievably bothered they are by it, to the point where they would like have to leave the room if there was something cringy happening. I was thinking, man, like, what a burden. What a burden, you know, to be bothered by the natural occurrence of social awkwardness. It happens, like, you know, get over it. It's a weight on your shoulders you don't need. What does chat say about this? I didn't know you could place cocoa bean on stripped logs, says Lucas. Yeah, you can put it on the stripped one as well. Second-hand embarrassment is painful, says Raven. I don't get a lot of that. I feel more empathetic than embarrassed. Like, people making mistakes and doing things that are stupid or whatever, like, we're only human. You know, most of the time people aren't thinking, what can I do that's stupid and ridiculous? It just happens because we're human. So, and cringy humour to some extent is sort of my favourite. I don't like cringe at. I like it when the cringe is constructed, like in The Office, right? Like it's a script. It's funny because it pokes fun at social awkwardness. But when you're like actually laughing at someone who's in a situation like that and you can tell it's difficult for them, that I don't find fun. I know there's all like subreddits and stuff dedicated to it. That just doesn't entertain me because like that's just someone like suffering, you know. However, speaking of people suffering, that can be funny. Like watching one of your mates fall over and stack it. I don't know why that's so funny. There's always something so funny about watching like a friend stack it, you know. I think that's why I like shows like Jackass and Dirty Sanchez so much. Just hilarious. But they're kind of like, you know, they're signing themselves up for it in those shows. I like cringy Evil Assumer, says Turing. So yeah, Evil Assumer, like some of the scripts that I wrote for the dialogue between X and Evil X, I was just deliberately going for that sort of weird, quirky vibe and sort of taking fun out of taking the mick out of the format as well, of how ridiculous it is. Like that conversation that X and Evil X have, where I think Evil X throws Asuma a book. It's in a season 5 episode. No, season 4. It's the season 4 episode, probably 500 or 450 then, somewhere around there. And like the whole point is that obviously this like conversation is just silly roleplay and not real. So it's like a bit ridiculous and a bit air quotes cringy. But then some people totally didn't get it and they'd be like, "Oh, this is so cringy and difficult to watch." And it's like, that was the point. But like you're supposed to be in on the joke as well. You're supposed to be in on it. You know? Do you know what I'm saying? Mr. Bean! Oh no, I'm Mr. Bean! Or Mr. Bean. No, I'm Mr. Bean. Where? Where is this bean that I'm in? Oh, it's so awkward and cringy, Mr. Bean! Jeez, I'm human, I can miss a bean if I want. Wait, well, you shouldn't be there. What happened to Grian? Says Mr. Sometime. There's a question that annoys me. When someone goes, what happened to? And I'm like, what do you mean what happened? They fall off a bike? They get in a car crash? What happened? What are you on about? Be specific, because you got me worried now. You missed another bean, bottom row. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What on earth will we do? Now, I feel like we should do something in this area to let these beans get loaded for a little bit longer, because I do want to fill up an entire box, but we need to leave the area loaded. Now, I know that I was pranked over here, but this is unacceptable. I've never come and removed the signs. I did want to leave it as such, though. Oh, it's now a beautiful aquarium. It's a turtle sanctuary. I think someone came over here and like cut down the amount of turtles as well. And I'm not going to build this farm back up at any point. Goodies! Oh, what have I found? The treasures and riches. Oh, cheaty fishing rods. Lava buckets. I happen to need one of those. Maps? Oh, buried treasure map. That should be taken back to the base, really. And then there... What is that? Like 11 of them? Just blue? Oh, that'll be from that prank. Oh, well, if you ever need a straight up blue map, that's handy. Wow, we found some actual treasures here, didn't we? I can't believe it. Forgotten memories. What's down here then? Treasure troves of filthy fishing loot. Okay, probably all the good stuff is gone, I'm guessing. But hey, if ever I need, you know, some of this sort of stuff, there's still some down here. Yeah, this is cool. I like this like this. It's going to get left as such. But yeah, those signs needed removing. Yeet my feet, says X, your mic is muted. Yeet my feet, you're... No, right, okay. I was going to make a joke, but then I realised it made no sense. Oh, it was so awkward. Oh, he was going to make a joke and it wouldn't have been fun. Oh, God, it's so awkward and cringy. Oh, I'm shivering. Oh, the cringe. Camping Meerkat says, X, I'm glad one of my questions made it into a video. The Post Malone Ozzy Osbourne one. Cool. Glad you like that. Ed Art Starch says, assuming your planting was not perfect, please explain. I cannot explain, but would an apology be acceptable? Would it be acceptable? Oh, X, you dork, says Sylvester Fletcher. Exactly. I mean, how much cringe am I going to generate as a dork, right? That's why I don't care about it. Oh, just laugh and move on. Your face cam is off, says Farinus. Yeah, I've turned it off these last few streams. You know, I figured you guys are probably getting sick of the old face cam, so I turned it off. What is the cocoa bean for? It's for making brown dye, so we need an entire chest worth of brown dye. Do you know what would be really interesting? What if they added more shades of the colours, like the dyes? Instead of from 16, they went up to like 32. That'd be crazy. I reckon we'd never see that. We'd never see that. There'd be so many blocks and shades to add. Face cam is cringy, says Madeline. Madeline Russo. Face cam is cringy. I wouldn't call it cringy, but I don't particularly enjoy face cam stuff. I find it really distracting in a kind of odd way. Like, if I watch a video with face cam, I feel like I keep sort of being drawn to the face cam, but it feels very irrelevant because face cam usually means you're doing something else, like playing a computer game, and yet your face is on it. However, watching a video where someone's standing in front of the camera and talking at you, that feels very normal because that's how you would like present information, right? But when you watch some video where there's like this abstract face cam in like the middle of a game, I never like it. It just feels so odd. It's not for me. I think face cams are useful if the streamer reaction adds to the experience. Maybe like reveal events. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, yeah, totally. There's like an added dimension. But again, that still doesn't work for me because I find it weird that I'm like invested in their body language, right? So I like it when you're watching a video and someone's like, hey, I'm explaining this thing to you, or like, you know, Phil DeFranco with the news and his, what does he always say in the comments down below? He always wants to know what you're thinking in those comments. That Philip DeFranco, he's a fiend for your thoughts, I tell you. You always got to leave a comment on his video, jeez. Yeah, someone like him, it's like, you know, he's telling you something, he's communicating, and it feels very right. But the whole reaction thing, nah, not for me, I don't think. X, is there a solution to the anti-grief creeper pack not doing any damage to players? Terra Timmers, not without some really over-the-top engineering, which you probably don't want running. So it is what it is for now. Right, I think we've got one more harvest, and then we got what we came for. So let's read some noises in the ear. We got 1, 2, 3, 100. Resubscribe for 4 months, saying, do you know if one can rewatch the Hermitcraft panel? I don't even know where you could have watched the Hermitcraft panel, but I'm sure it'll get uploaded somewhere at some point, and I'll definitely be watching it, of course. I want to watch the Psycraft one as well. Acres12 is here, subscribing with Amazon Prime. Thank you, Acres12. Appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Excuse me. Oh, jeez. AC the Koala says, I'm not into face cams as well. I wish there was an option to turn it off, personally, on Twitch. You know, I can immediately think of a way you could achieve that. It's tied into a concept that I've thought about for recording before. But, you know, recording video on a computer, on a powerful computer, is pretty slick and easy these days. And so... Ooh, we are running out of space here. We are running out of spaces. I guess... I needed one more shulker box with me, I guess. Brilliant! Just typical that. I mean, I'm going to have to travel away and come back here again. Should we just dump stuff into sand and gravel? Because we know we've got space in there, so... for now, this stuff will get stashed in here. Slightly chaotic way of doing it, but that's okay. What was that question? What was that question? Oh yeah, okay. So, encoding, creating video, really good. Do it in high resolution, can encode from multiple sources at once. So what I've sort of like played with this idea of doing, and I think there's been a couple of times I've needed actual application for it, but I've never found like the perfect use for it. But imagine you're recording a video in Minecraft, right? 1920 by 1080, except you record a little bit wider than that. And then you've got this like black space in the side of your recording segment to put something else. You could put your webcam into that space of the video. Then when you go to edit your video track, you could duplicate the video itself inside of your editing software, and you could change each track to focus on a different part of the video footage itself. So one would just get the 1920 by 1080 and not the bit on the side, and the other one would just get your face cam bit on the side, right? And then you would be able to dynamically turn off and on the face cam or the Minecraft, depending on what way around you're doing it. And we've got lots of noises in the ear coming in. Get back to that in a second. Let's finish the train of thought here. So then, you know, you can have a video that captures more than just the one thing you're trying to record, and then you can use your editing software to dynamically obtain the other things, whatever they could be. Facecam's a really good example, but you could use it for loads of stuff. And the way you could do that with Twitch is if you send them a video feed that is bigger than 1920 by 1080, but it knows it's going to crop it at that size, in the additional video stream that you're sending it, you could give it the dimensions of where your face cam is, and then tell it where to put face cam on the stream. And then that means someone watching who didn't want face cam could turn it off, because it could send you 2 layers of video, right? And then that way you'd be able to, you know, to have both, like layered video. Now that could also have some really killer applications in Twitch further down the line. Some people might start playing with this, and perhaps you send Twitch. You send Twitch. Imagine a quad split video, right? So you split it kind of like this, and you got 4 different video streams. 4 people are playing a co-op game together. You send Twitch one video feed that is those 4 segments, yet the viewers get to choose which quadrant they are going to be looking at in full screen. And, you know, then they can jump between what player's perspective they want to see of a co-op game. Like, that's another application of this idea, right? Oof, with all those players, wouldn't it end up being laggy food for the viewers, says Confused Nicole. Not really. Okay, so video has come a really long way. Like, I can capture multiple sources on my computer at once and have all the things on the screen. The trick really is that you're taking the format of sending the video, and then you're just adding instructions in that say, look at this part of the screen, or look at this part of the video feed. So imagine what you're watching right now is the same video feed coming in, but it's split on the screen into 4 quadrants, and then you're just focusing on one of it. You would still receive the whole stream like you do just now. It would be the same thing. Like, it would perform just like this. Obviously, there would be more going on overall because you have more moving parts. Tuxaban points out it needs to be high enough quality so watching all of them in full screen is 1080. Yeah, so you'd have to do like, what's 1920? Like, isn't it 3840 or something? 3840, like 4K. You'd have to stream 4K to get 4 1080s in there, basically. Anyway, it's totally doable. You just need to build in like an end product at either end. The technology is literally already developed because it is a video feed. You just need the instructions to say display this part of the video feed as the whole video feed as opposed to all of it. Bog Dan Glig says there would be much more data going through it, so it might be taxing on the GPU, memory and bandwidth. Again, not quite, because you're just receiving a video feed. It would certainly be a bit more of an active video feed being split up with more quadrants, but on the receiving end, it's still just a video feed. Some people are pointing out lower bandwidth issues. Again, like, yes, in theory, you would need more bandwidth for the higher quality because you're receiving 4 feeds at once. But, you know, you could watch it at 720 or at a lower frame rate and get the whole video and focus in on the one bit. The bandwidth one is a good point, but The CPU usage one isn't really, because capturing technology has come such a long way. So on the streamer's end, they would indeed need really good hardware to capture 4 sources and get it into a stream. However, that hardware is so available. Like, my computer could do it easily, no problem, no sweat. It would be able to take care of that for you. Right, now I think we need to get back to the Hexa-Bee project next to drop off some supplies over there. Anyway, Vintage Trenchcoat says weird flex, but okay. It's not a flex. It's not a flex. I'm not like showing off. What I'm saying is, I mean, my old computer could probably do it as well. Like transcoding technology that is built into many computers. I haven't seen this little extension here before. It's looking all right. Oh, it's fancy building. Transcoding technology that is now built into computers is really good at capturing what's going on your computer. If you wanted to set up a system to capture 4 different streams and put them into 4 different sources and put them into a single stream, you do not need to break the bank to do that, right? And old hardware has got transcoding stuff built into it. It's been around for a long time. My last computer that could record 1920 by 1080p at 60 FPS, it was like 7 years old, or 9 or 8 years old, I think. In fact, yeah, I've been on YouTube for 8 years. By the way, recently been on YouTube for 8 years. Hit that milestone while I was away on holiday. So, an 8-year-old i7 could handle all of that because the hardware inside of the computer has the transcoding stuff built in. The technology's that good. I think the real restrictions to what we're talking about is the added bandwidth that having a bigger video feed could put. But you could always watch stuff in a lower resolution in order to take advantage of this kind of like multiple streams idea. In the sense of the 4-screen split screen, it probably would make more sense to just have 4 available streams and tune into one and have it very easily just be like, boom, stream into the next one. But it might be more difficult on another aspect, which is then you've got to set up a bunch of infrastructure to allow one person to send 4 separate feeds over, or maybe they send one and then Twitch splits it up into 4. I'm not sure quite how that would work. But yeah, you could sort of set it up in a way where rather than sending all 4 at once, you just send one and you create the infrastructure for whoever's watching to flick between the different parts of it. But as for adding a small webcam onto the side of your video feed, that wouldn't really cause a problem for anyone, and being able to flick it on and off would be pretty cool. Right, I think we're at eye break time. And I'm trying to make a note over here. Hello, what are you doing, computer? What are you doing? Okay, we've got loads of noises in the air, and I need a eye break because we're 1 hour into the stream. Typical. I need to read and I need an eye break. Terra Trimmers says, Twitch already has something like this. It's called squad mode, I think. You can stream 4 streams all the time, but they're from different sources. It's not the same thing. It's 4 people streaming to their 4 channels, and the 4 channels are grouped together for you to seamlessly mix between on Twitch's end. It's similar, but if you were one person trying to send out 4 streams, it would be a little tricky, but yeah, it's doable. Different audio sources would be neat, so I can mute the streamer's music. That would be so easy. Video files really quite easily support multiple audio streams. Twitch could easily support that, I think. However, the problem would be on the capturing end over here. You may have issues with creating a virtual audio source. So, for example, what you're listening to is both the game sounds and the music together in one channel, and to separate them from a capturing software like Streamlabs OBS, Windows isn't set up to separate all the different audio sources like that. So you need a virtual audio source, which is really quite difficult to set up. But that would be a really cool thing. And you know, these are ideas that like Streamlabs and Twitch could probably communicate on. I don't know if they've ever talked about doing something like that, but it would certainly be possible. Right, while I tidy away some stuff here and try to get things a little bit more orderly around here. Okay, so cocoa beans need to go over here. Now that we've got a chest for the idea project. Doesn't Sunflower support virtual audio multiplexing? Soundflower. Well, I'm going to go look that up because I've tried virtual audio sources before and they're very difficult. And I would love for an easy one, because one thing I'd love to do is just put my music through a virtual audio cable so that when I record a video, like if I accidentally play the music, which happens on occasion, or you know, it gives me the opportunity to sort of dynamically capture some stuff without other audio sources interfering. Because a lot of the time, you know, when I'm recording or in between recording, I'm just watching a video or doing something else at the same time. And so if you get caught in a moment where like a creeper jumps up on you, you sort of can't really capture your reaction because you've got other stuff playing and it's just going to degrade the value of the video, right? And there might be copyright issues as well and stuff like that. Why do I have so much milk over here? I do not know. But I'm going to do that for now. A little bit of organisation going on here. So, we have a buried treasure map as well. Ooh, this is going to go in the buried treasure map room. We have a room for that. So, I'm terribly behind on my noises in the air. I'm so bad. I'm so sorry, peeps. I'm going to get to all your noises. We got one up here. Reserved for you. Reserved for you, my friend. I never quite finished this room as well, did I? Never quite finished it. On the 11th of October, I might subscribe, says Not Welsh Toast. If you mean here on Twitch, then I understand. But if on YouTube, I don't, because you can subscribe anytime you like. Let's go and read the noises in my ear. So, big sub bomb from Vintage Trenchcoat. I can't thank you enough for supporting the community, gifting 5 subs to peeps. So, if you hear your name being read out loud, you're now a subscriber, and it's an opportunity to put that old butcher emote into chat, because I'm probably going to butcher your name. We have Sloppy Sixpack, Notbot EXE, XSyn36, 1mil 1000, and the Green Luma. You're all now subscribers, thanks to Vintage Trenchcoat. Be sure to throw a love heart in chat for Vintage, and thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate it, my dude. Very kind of you. We also have Fuzzosaurus subscribing with Amazon Prime. Thank you, Fuzzosaurus. Also, to the person in chat asking me to go through Doc's portal, I will go through the Infinity Portal at some point in time. That'll happen. Also, folks, 23! Here with a donation saying, hey, Asuma, long time no watch. Just drop in some cash as a thanks to the good times in the past. Folks, long time no see indeed. Wow, that name goes way back. Hope you are doing well, and thank you so much for dropping in. I appreciate the donation. I wish I could have read it sooner, you know. But welcome, and you know, if you haven't been around for a while, still doing the Hermitcraft. The channel has blown up, hit 1 million subscribers. Things are going incredibly well as always. Can't really believe it sometimes. Still streaming, pretty much just play Hermitcraft when I stream. And I started a new channel called Asuma Says, where I take bits where I waffle about stuff and put it onto that channel. It's cool. Thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate it as always. We got Viking, Valatrix, doing cheers for own bits, saying just tuned in. What are we doing, X? We're standing around and talking, apparently. I should really do something at the same time here, so let's go over to the Hexa-Bee project. That's kind of the next bit here. And I need to bring a box of stuff with me. Okay, it'll be one of these then. It'll be that one right there. Now, can I get up there? Yes. Yes, I can, because I'm innovative. I use blocks to climb. Right. That's for a different project. Yeah. I think I'm just going to leave the maps and the cocoa beans in here for now. And we've got too many cocoa beans. What do you do when you've got too many? You throw them away. Throw them away. Okay, that goes in the backpack. Very good. Very, very good. In the hood, homie. Actually, forgot the eye breaks this side start. I'm trying to get to that, you know. There'll be breaking of eyes, don't worry. Now, there's no mobs over here, which is good, but it did kind of remind me I should probably throw down some torches in this area. So let's do something mindless while we read some messages. Oh, we've got a whole bunch of stuff in there that needs sorting out. Of course we do. Everything needs sorting out all of the time. Alright. Where are we? Jolkip is here for 47 months in a row. There we go. Thank you so much, Jolkip. Welcome back from your vacation. Quick question, what's your opinion on Strongman? I recently started watching Eddie Hall, Brian Shaw, and Martin Likas on YouTube as motivating my own training. You know, getting motivation from places is good. As for Strongman, when I grew up, I used to love watching The World's Strongest Man on TV. Used to watch it with my Nine and Tide in Wales, which is Welsh for you know, grandma and granddad, basically. And yeah, that just as a kid, it was fascinating to see what they could do. But I never got really like, oh, that's what I want to do, kind of thing. But obviously now I do weight training, but not heavy lifting like that. The heavy lifting stuff isn't really my cup of tea. More so because it kind of looks like a little bit on the unhealthy side. Like a lot of those like power lifters who go for really heavy weights, they have to like eat a lot of food and train with a large amount of volume, but you kind of end up with like this body type that's just huge, and although it's full of muscle, it's full of fat as well, and they don't tend to do a lot of cardio, and so in my eyes it's like not the kind of fitness or like goal that I would go for. So although I like appreciate what they do, it doesn't particularly fascinate me that much or like motivate me that much. I'm much more interested in the sort of smart, I don't know, smarter, like, doesn't have to be smart, does it? Just not that range. Like the big lifting is really not the thing I aim for, or anything, if that makes sense. But if it is what you do, then and you get motivation from it, then that's awesome. And it is, of course, like really great to see that people can do things like lift, you know, I don't know what the world record is, but extraordinary amounts of weight. That's incredible. I don't like the physique of it, the sort of big and bloated. And I've watched videos by people like that, and like they talk about what they eat, and man, some of those diets are they're just eating crazy amounts of meat, and like also a lot of junk calories as well. I mean, I don't know if that's specifically how the people you like eat, but that stuff doesn't appeal to me very much. Eddie Hall deadlifting 500 kg, says Jolkip. Yeah, that's phenomenal. That's an incredible amount of weight. The most I ever deadlifted was probably around 50k, which would have been a tenth of that, and that blows my mind. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan, basically, of the powerlifting stuff, but I appreciate it. It's not for me, that kind of physique and whatnot. Not keen on it. Tiwi Belix says, yeah, some of the more prolific bodybuilders have suffered multiple heart attacks due to their heart not being strong enough to accommodate their huge body. Yes. There was actually a channel I discovered. I can't remember the name of it, but basically the guy used to be one of those people and then realised that like it was really bad for him, and he dropped all the weight and started eating different and training different, and kind of like advocates that over what they did before. $50. I reckon if you had another go, you get closer to 100, says Troyster. I don't want to lift like that though. Like the one of the problems I have in my body is my lower back is just a place where aches and achiness occurs. It always has done. So I'm very, very conscious of how much strain I can put on that, and so I don't really aim to lift heavy. I just try and focus on technique and getting like good form together and whatnot. And with the deadlift, it just feels so easy to be sloppy and to get it wrong. So I don't really do a lot of deadlifting, and I just deadlift with kettlebells. You know, and I just do it just to kind of, you know, exercise my back a little bit, but I'm not like trying to build muscle there, because if I get it wrong, the deadlift is one of the biggest risk-reward lifts you can do. You get a lot of rewards, but you also have a lot of risk. You can really injure yourself by doing it wrong, and so I'm not that invested in. I'd much rather stick to things that have low risk. For example, like my arms are really well built, mostly through consistently doing band work with like resistance bands. And if you know the right movements to do, they're incredibly low risk. In fact, you use resistance bands in recovery training, it's so low risk. But resistance bands can really just target muscles and you know, make a difference. What are we doing here, by the way? I feel like I've come over here and now I'm just like, I'm not actually doing anything. Let me have a look at my notes for a moment here. I guess I've got to gather a lot of wood, is one thing. And I've also got to start doing some creative building over here, and I just don't know quite how to approach it. So while we talk here, you might see me jumping around doing a lot of stuff. Let's catch up with these noises in the ear. We've got Fulks23 for 33 months saying 33 months with a year break in between. Or was it longer? I would guess, Fulks, it was probably a little bit longer than that, because, you know, your old school OG probably here from day one, and I think our day one Twitch subscribers have hit the 50 months. So I reckon it's about a year and a half. Yeah, that's what I reckon. Let's grab some stairs. But thank you so much. Good to have you back with us today. I hope you stick around and enjoy what we're up to. If not, I understand. Like, you know, everyone moves on from things they enjoy at one point or another. It's just how life goes. We got Sphinx STO resubscribing for 16 months. We got Funky Coaster resubscribing for 22 months. Thank you ever so much for your support, peeps. As always, it's tremendous and I appreciate it. We got a Zombie MC resubscribing for 7 months, saying thanks for the awesome content and thank you for your subscription. I appreciate it. We got Dragon Mate 99 for 5 months. We got The Last Psycho for 25 months. Thank you so much, Last Psycho. I appreciate it. And now we got noises in the ear. We got cheers and bits. Soko Builds is here saying, what do you think of the ketogenic diet? I got quite fat in my last year of school due to exam stress. I got really into the Joe Rogan Experience podcast and started eating keto. 0 carbs, and I lost 15k, and now I'm at 14% body fat. That's awesome, dude. Congratulations on dropping all the fat. Yep, the keto can do that for you. My thoughts on it is just, I've heard, again, like I like to get sources of information from multiple places, and what I've seen with the ketogenic diet is there are people saying there are some serious health risks if you do it long term. I can't, off the top of my head, can't quite remember, but it's some sort of like liver disease or, you know, one of these big health issues. It's not heart disease. I don't think it's diabetes, but there is something that being on keto for long periods of time stimulates, and so when I heard of that, it kind of put me very much off the keto diet. But the thing that I don't like about the keto diet is just the lack of nutrition. I mean, there is some nutrition in the keto diet, obviously, but you don't eat your fruit and veggies on the keto diet. You can actually have small amounts of carbs. You don't have to do 0 carbs, I've heard. Keto can damage your kidneys long term, says Eddard Starch. That sounds like it. Maybe it was kidney disease then or something. So yeah, there are potential health risks, and I don't think it's worth it because you can lose body fat in different ways as well. Now, what you do when you go on keto is you put your body into a state of ketosis where it doesn't have as much glucose and that form of energy available in your muscles, so it resorts to body fat to get the energy to your muscles. You can actually achieve this just by doing intermittent fasting. I'm on an intermittent fast right as we speak. I am approaching my 16th hour of not eating, and it's around this time that you really start to burn up the body fat as you haven't intaken any carbs for a while. I once heard that carbs kind of get used up in about 4 hours before becoming body fat, which makes me wonder if maybe this whole fasting thing happens. It happens a little bit sooner. But anyway, I went for a run this morning after 12 hours of fasting or whatever, and so my body is going to be pulling a lot of energy from body fat as opposed to the blood glucose that will be stored from the carbohydrates that I ate the day before. However, like how effective it is, like I understand the concept of it all, but I don't know how these margins that I'm hitting are making a big difference or not. However, since I've been back on intermittent fasting after having done it some time ago and then sort of fallen off of it a little bit, the last month before my holiday, I really just felt my body fat just sort of shrink again. And I've always felt like with everything that I've done, you've got to pick it up and you've got to incorporate it into your lifestyle. If you pick something up and drop it again, like, your body is going to sort of adapt to that range. I know there's this whole concept of calories in and calories out, but in my experience, it does really also feel like it's not just calories in and calories out, it's lifestyle. Like, I can be on a deficit, but it wasn't until I shifted into intermittent fasting that then my body sort of dropped some fat again, right? Fasting was absolutely useless for me, says Chloe. If it didn't do anything for you, here's some reasons why. Fasting is quite difficult because you can't have any calories in at all, really. I've seen some stuff where people say you can have like 50 calories or whatever, or this many calories, but you really need to stick quite rigidly to it. At most, you can just have a little bit of milk with your tea, but you can't have a soda pop. You shouldn't be drinking soda pops if you want to lose weight anyway. They're just one of the worst things to have, period, really, in your diet. Just constant, needless pumps of sugar into your body is what soda pops are. Yeah, so where were we? Sort of losing my train of thought. Keto and intermittent fasting. I did a combination of the keto diet and intermittent fasting. It really helped me, but it also made me realise how many hidden carbs are in our food nowadays, says Soaking Builds. Oh yeah, your foods are full of carbs. I mean, I calorie count and watch my macros, and by doing that, by using like a program on my mobile phone to kind of, understand what I'm eating in that way, you really get to look at food differently and start to understand like what's what and what it's doing to your body. I've since tried, doing intermittent fasting. I've tried to pivot away from carbs a little bit as well. But anyway, to the person who said it didn't work for them, it could be that it just doesn't work for you. That's always a possibility, right? It might actually be doing something physically, but you just don't enjoy it. That's perfectly fine. But you have to really stick to it, and you have to do it for a while. And you've also got to be an active person as well. I think if you just do it and you don't change your eating, what you eat, and you just expect to see results without other changes as well, then it's quite likely, it's not really going to work out too well for you. I think we need a bit more of a constructive pattern here. I think it might be better to start with just full blocks and work off of, like I said, a constructive pattern. That's wording that might sound kind of confusing, right? But what I'm getting at is we need to form a pattern from the shape and then worry about stuff like stairs later on. We got a visitor now. I just eat what I want and I stay the same size, says Gen 1 Matt. Well, you might find that your choices of food, your body's own inclination to tell you what you want to eat, they might just be the right choices for you. Also, if you're young, remember your metabolism is very strong when you're young. You can get away with eating a lot of junk. If I look back at like what I used to eat, and I think about like what if I ate like that today, I just know that the body fat would just come on so quick. Like I could not get away with eating some of the stuff I used to eat. It was ridiculous. I would just eat like a couple stacks of yogurt, a massive packet of peanuts, some crisps, and like lumps of cheese. I mean, I would snack well over 1,000 calories easily. In between meals, it was just ridiculous. Lego Oxy says, to be honest, it depends on your genetics. Having listened to a lot of stuff about all of what we've been talking about, the genetics thing sounds quite marginal, to be fair. I think it doesn't have as big as an impact as people like to think it does. I tell you what, I don't actually enjoy seeing the white here kind of come downwards like I've done there. I think I might just move around a bit and goof about with these blocks until we find something that sticks. We've also got like a flat surface over here to work with, so who knows what will work. Anyway, we're going to keep messing about with this, so let's just put the blocks like this for now and see what happens. That's what I'm going to do. So we're going to actually embrace this big flat wall over here. that's not so bad. And then I think we'll just go in one block again. Stress has a health channel, says OGTE. I know Stress is quite versed on health and fitness stuff as well. But when I read Stress, I was just going to say one a massive factor is stress. De-stressing yourself, like, will do you so many things mentally and physically. Stress should be a real concern for anyone who wants to improve their health. And a lot of stress, I think, comes from how you think and handle situations as well. Keto is one of the contributors to my chronic cleochitis. My binge eating disorder was another huge contributor, and then I had to get a gallbladder removed in June. Severe infection. I'm on a pretty complicated diet because of complications in my gallbladder and removal surgery. All right, so that sounds, you know, I wouldn't chalk that up to just being keto if you binge eat as well. But I'm sorry to hear you went through that. That must be tough. And you know, one of the things I think is really important to understand with food is that you will end up craving the sort of food that you eat, and it might take a long time to get to a place where you crave salads like I do, but your body's micro gut biome, as they call it, you know, the foods that you eat make up that, and it kind of tells your body what it wants to eat. So after having pastas and pizza and ice cream on my little vacation, I've now got little cravings for those things, whereas before I went I had no cravings to eat pasta. Like, I'd well and truly worked pasta out of my diet. The only thing like pasta I eat is rice. But yeah, pasta very heavy on the carbs. It's made with wheat as well, so one to avoid. But yeah, just a little bit of it in for a few days and my body's craving it. But I've eaten salads for so many years now. I love a good salad. I love picking out what I'm going to put in it, you know. I know all the different combinations and what's good, and that's like how your micro gut biome works. If you have a bad diet, if you are going to be consistent, and I'm talking maybe years, I don't know at what rate it changes, but for me, you know, it took a long time of eating right to come round to enjoy it more. And then once you get on that path and you stay on it, it gets a little bit quicker when you introduce new foods that are healthy and whatnot, because you know you're doing the right thing, you know it's going to work. But yeah, sticking at your diet, like a better, healthier diet over time, and then it will, you know, change and you'll crave the healthier foods. But I think one of the biggest things people struggle with on this stuff is that the change has to basically be permanent. I call it lifestyle all the time when I talk about exercise, health, fitness, and diet. You've really got to make it a lifestyle change for it to work. If you're gonna like do the healthy thing for a while and then go back to having sody pops, and you know, it's not gonna work. Like, your body's just not gonna get along with it. Yeah, it has to be a permanent change, and that's what I think is difficult for most people, is they don't accept or find it difficult to realize you're not going to have your sody pops, your pizzas, your takeaway food as much or at all when you want to make these changes, you know. Okay, I like that. That is simple. That works for me. I would say I think it will look nicer if we bring it down 2 blocks at a time. I think 2 blocks at a time can look more interesting. So on this side we actually have a lot of space to do 2 blocks at a time. So we'll go over there and try it that way, right? Adarium says, if this is going on, Asuma says, I'll watch it even though I've heard it live. These subjects are so interesting to listen to. I'm glad you feel that way. I feel that way as well. And re-listening to the content, good idea, because you get these concepts drilled into your head a little better. Now, I feel like everything I'm saying to all of you is like the best I can. Like, it's oh wait, this is totally wrong. Like, I have really spent a lot of time and I'm careful about what I say. I know I can always go and find a comment with someone telling me I'm completely wrong, but like, one of the other things I should preface all of this information with, I guess, is like, there is bad advice out there to some effects, but it's in the realms of the hacky stuff, right? When someone's telling you use this supplement. That's just not, that's never going to be good advice, right? Someone's telling you to do this trick or to buy this bit of equipment and do this thing. That's always the bad advice. When it comes to the other stuff, telling people that, you know, your changes have got to be permanent, or you need to get more fruit and veg in, you'll find if someone's telling you you're wrong, it's bad, it's the wrong advice, it's probably down to like bickering opinions over margins. I've spent a lot of time like listening to people talk about this stuff, and I feel like I've managed to find like the proper solid bits of information by hearing it from different places, trying it myself as well, you know. So there's no shortcut to success, says T-Bone Uprising. Exactly. It's going to be hard if you want to make these changes. That's why they got to be lifestyle changes. There's not quick fixes and, hey, do this for a while and then you can go back to eating pizzas again, you know. Anyway, I feel like we've waffled on about that for, you know, it's what I do. It's what I do. Look at this, I'm running out of rockets. I love to waffle, don't I? The Hazza Hype is here doing cheers for a bit, saying, hey X, first time back after a while. I still love the streams and congratulations on 1 million subscribers. Just want to express how much motivation you give me to continue playing Minecraft. Awesome, dude. That's so great to hear. Thank you for the congratulatory message, and I appreciate the cheers and the bits. Thank you ever so much. We also got Shakespeare 92i here for 2 months saying, have you ever done or tried yoga? I do yoga every day. And when I started doing yoga many years ago, it was like quite immediately beneficial, but I would sort of do it every other day. It was also really tough, and you know, I knew it was really good for me, so I'd keep doing it, but I'd sort of fall in and out of patterns of doing it, and then I would generally try to, you know, do it routinely, and then I fell out of it for a while, and this was way back when I lived actually no, it might have been when I was here in this house. Anyway, there was a period where I fell out of doing it frequently for a while, and when I went back to it, I really realized, oh my god, this is like so beneficial to my body to do this every day. And since then, I've pretty much been on like a everyday yoga thing. I do miss it on occasions, but for example, I think I've been on a streak of like 2 weeks every day do yoga. Dummy says, how does yoga feel? Yoga, it's interesting. The further you get into it, the better it feels. But I guess at first, the first time you do yoga, I'm just going to walk you through how it was for me, I guess, would make the most sense. At first, it was like obviously beneficial, but it was also difficult and tough. And 20 minutes of yoga would be quite exhausting. And this was back when, you know, I was running, but I wouldn't say I was anywhere near as fit as I am now. You know, I was just sort of beginning in the world of fitness, and it was quite tough. And then to do it every day, it would just be a bit like, oh, you know, do I really need to? You'd feel like you didn't really need to because it gave you so much benefit last time you did it. But anyway, it feels like stretching your body out, like stretching a muscle does, but it's quite intense because it's full body. And the more you do it, the more you realize, like in parts of your days where your body feels achy, you kind of pick up on like, hey, there's a stretch for that. And so then you eventually realize, you know, you just want to stretch out your body at the beginning of every day, which is what I do. And it's a great way to set the tone for the day because your body is very warmed up and then you're ready to do other stuff. So I do a run after I've done my yoga like I did this morning because my whole body's kind of loose and limber. Then I do my proper stretches for running and I do the run. But it feels really good. When you get deep into yoga, it just feels like this time for you on your mat where you take care of your body. And I think I learned a lot of that from yoga with Adrian. Now, I went through a few different like yoga instructor and different videos that I would refer to. And then when I found her channel, I feel like the way she talks about doing it had the best connection of body and mind and getting your breathing in sync with what you're doing. Just the way she does it, it really flows very well. And I think that's the reason that she's like, I think she's like the #1 yoga coach on YouTube, basically. And so yeah, like it becomes like, for me, it becomes this time of the day where I'm limbering up the body, I'm setting the tone for the day, and she talks about like incorporating mantras and putting positive things into your mind, because you kind of go into a little bit of a meditative state. You are holding position, stretching your muscles, and the intensity of that draws your mind away from its like chaotic busyness of thought, and you go into quite a relaxed and meditative kind of place, and you know, you can kind of utilize that and use it to fuel some good thinking and a way to set the tone for the day. She has a great 30 days starter course, says K3S. Yes, and every year she does a 30-day yoga challenge in January. I say, don't like wait for the New Year's. Don't wait for a New Year's resolution. You can go search her up and watch one of her videos. Just type in beginners yoga. It's actually a video not by hers. I'd recommend for anyone who wants to start yoga. 20 minutes of yoga for absolute beginners. There is this video. When I first found it, it only had like a small amount of views, and whenever I go back to it, it's now got millions and millions. I mean, the fact that like I used it to get into yoga, probably loads of other people did as well. Those people are rewatching the video every time you want to, you know, do a yoga session. You refer back to that video. I'm kind of well beyond that stage now. I'm into like quite limber with a lot of stretches. There are parts of my bodies I'm struggling to get limber though, like my hips area is very tight. It's difficult for me, like something like stretches, what do you call them, splits would be really difficult for me because I have tight hamstrings and my hips aren't very flexy. But yeah, anyway, that video, if you go search it up, that's a really great way to get into yoga, and I just can't see why no one shouldn't do yoga. Like, I really couldn't think of a reason that any person wouldn't want to do this, you know. Obviously there's barriers of entry, like you think it's not for you and you don't think it's something you want to do, but the benefits are wonderful once you're well and truly in there. Meditation is brain yoga and yoga is like body meditation, says Sniper Jun. Yeah, pretty much. And I do both of those. Like, I will pretty much like meditate after I've done my yoga. Meditation's really difficult. Like, compared to yoga, you get the benefits because you do the stretch. It's very physical. It's very obvious. Like, some days, like today when I meditated, I just could not stop my brain from thinking about stuff. But it was kind of in a good way because I kept thinking about like productivity things that I needed to do. You know, which I think is a better type of meditation. Like, if your brain is just thinking up random stuff constantly, it's not really a good session. I need some just dirt now. Just need some more dirt down there. Let's go pick some up. What are you working on right now? X says B-Bass. We're working on the Hexa-Bee project. Love the stream, says Blockbuster Hacks. Glad you're enjoying it. Oh, yeah, Randy says, I think Tai Chi is better than yoga. Low impact exercise. Yeah, Tai Chi would be, I don't know a lot about it, but it would be a much lower impact on the body. In fact, if you're like, maybe, I don't know, 50, 60 plus, maybe you haven't done a lot of exercise in your life, like that's probably Tai Chi is better for you. But if you're young, or you have had a history of doing exercise and are somewhat in shape, like yoga is really good. And you can do simple yoga, simple stretches, like that beginner video. You could just stick to doing that over and over again. I think anyone could get along with that beginner video because you're mostly lying on your back for most of it. And then there's like a standing pose, and those are really simple. Getting into stuff like downward dog and then learning to use your core. Like, there's stuff like boat poses and then learning to move your limbs whilst in a boat pose that can be really difficult to get towards. But, you know, like the thing with yoga is that if you're finding that more difficult stuff difficult, you don't have to do it. You know, there's the levels to it. And if you stick at those lower levels, you'll probably subtly build up the strength to do the higher levels. So it's like a progression thing, right? You'll get slowly better and better at it with time. But you can go whatever pace you want, and it's really good. Anyway, wow, we went off on one about yoga there. That was from Shakespeare, wasn't it? Gamer Toss DK is here for 11 months saying, hey X, 11 month subscription now. This is insane. Still love all of your content. Keep up the good work. One more for a year. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying the stream. So if we take a step back here, I'm not sure if I like that more or less, really. I think this one, if any, might have the opportunity for more shape work to be done underneath. Kind of looks alright. Let's mess around with this little bit here. I feel like this would be a good opportunity, possibly, to goof around with the space. Ah, we're going to... like, what if I had to do that and tuck it in? Then this one gets tucked in as well. That should actually be quite easy, I think. I'm trying to visualize it a bit before I break too many of these blocks away. So that would be gone, and some of these would as well. So there'd be a block there, a block here, and ow, a block there. Now we've only done a little bit, but I've got to say I don't actually think that works at all. No, I don't. I'm just going to go with this. Let's keep it simple. No one's even going to come over here and look at this. That's the other thing to consider. We'll keep it like that. I Live Cats in chat says, it's crazy to think how many people think to themselves, yeah, that guy's cool, I'm going to give him $5 a month for over a year. The new age of content creators is really fascinating. Oh, Cats, it is fascinating in many different ways. But it's a form of direct patronage, or patronage. And that was actually a thing that was, like, done by the rich and the elite, to some extent. I don't know if those are the right words to describe, but... you know, painters in like the 16th and 17th century would have had patrons, rich people who believed in the work that they were doing and would pay them to do their thing. And it's kind of like that all over again, which is definitely interesting. But, you know, the thing with the internet and what we're experiencing right now is that we have, you know, hyper-specific communities can exist for things. Because there's no geographical boundaries. Oh, this is throwing me off right here. That's not right. You used to have geographical boundaries that would have put restrictions and limits on like what can be achieved. You know, let's go back to like the 1980s or whatever. Like, you probably couldn't convince anyone that they wanted to sit and listen to you while you played a computer game. But if you had access to everyone on the globe, you would definitely, in the 1980s, be able to find some people that were interested in that. Now we do actually have access to everyone on the globe, and that's why it exists, I guess. You can have hyper-specific communities for all kinds of niches and interests, and those things can be communicated with the use of the internet. So therefore, this exists, which is cool. Hyper-specific. Are you sure that's a word? It's two words. Hyper and specific. What is the Hexa-Bee project? It is the project we're working on right now. It is where we are going to have a seven block area for 6 different bee farms. It's an idea. It's an idea I've had. I have many ideas. Does X stream on Fridays and at the weekends or every day, says Zach Official? I stream pretty much kind of like when I want, but I try to aim for every other day, but as of late I haven't really succeeded with that. If I stream on the weekend, it will be in the morning. If I stream on a weekday, it will be in the evening. That's generally my kind of like way I do it. I'm really looking forward to the new honey blocks, says Max DK. You know what? Of all the thoughts and opinions about Minecraft updates, I'm always looking forward to having new stuff in this game. So, yeah, it's going to be awesome, obviously. Hi, I assume I'm new, and I'd like to say I like your voice, says Squiggles. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy it. As I've said probably many times before, I used to hate my voice. I used to hate hearing it. I think that's a common thing, to not like your own voice. But then I started speaking in videos, and people didn't go, your voice is terrible, and then I was like, oh, okay, it's not so bad then. Actually, people say it more now than they did then. Oh my god, that's so hilarious. I will always get comments on my first video of Hermitcraft, and they're like, why do you sound so depressed? It's like, I'm not depressed, I just didn't have much experience with talking and expressing myself, you know? That's all it is. Even Eminem hates hearing his recorded voice, says the Furio's brother. I think after you've been on wax for that long, you should really have learned to get comfortable with hearing your own voice. I mean, Negativity is such a easy thing to kind of like elevate and masquerade and hold on to. It's really important to learn to let things go. And I don't know what's going on in Eminem's head. I know nothing about this. It just, my initial reaction is kind of like, that's just an imposed burden on yourself. Look at you. You've defied everyone that ever told you you couldn't. You've conquered the world of hip hop and rap and music in general. Household name, international superstar, and you did it all with your voice. Like, you should have no reason to hate that. You should embrace it. That's your power. That's your strength right there. What are your thoughts on philosophy and how life is a simulation, etc.? Little bit of an assumption there. Oh yeah, the old life is a simulation. Is it? Is it really? Was that a simulated question? Jeez. I love those topics and I love philosophy. In fact, I really like learning about classical philosophers. Like the School of Life used to do these really great videos. They sort of pivoted away from doing it, but they would kind of run you through classical philosophers and what their thoughts and opinions are. I love learning about it. It's like food for how to look at the world or how to think about things, and it's such a fascinating topic. As for the life is a simulation, I don't know what I think or feel about that really. I've talked about it many times on these streams and probably said many different things, but as of right now, I just feel like the whole life is a simulation thing, it's kind of like a thought experiment that plays out really well, but doesn't quite add up, because it can always be applied to any like level of reality. So if life is a simulation, then the life that is simulating, does that not fall into the same trap of being able to run through the same thought experiment? And it too is a simulation? Just seems a bit catch-22 for me, you know. Have you listened to The Infinite Monkey Cage with Brian Cox? Brian Cox is someone who, if I'm thinking of the right person, do they have a podcast called The Mindscape? It's someone who I keep meaning to get into and listen to. Just haven't formed that habit and got that ball rolling, you know. Check out Voice Meter for audio mixing. You can mix your streaming audio and non-streaming audio independently to your headphones and streaming software. Voice Meter. Thanks for the suggestions. These are things I'd like to look into. Right. Favourite conspiracy theory, says Oyan4. You know, I watched a podcast with this guy on the H3. I forget his name. Oh my goodness me. He's got one of these names that I actually, for some reason, remembered until now. Anyway, he was on the H3 podcast, and he's like a debunker, right? And actually, I really appreciated like his view and his insight into conspiracy theories and which ones are like debunkable and whatnot. Yeah, so I don't have a favourite because I believe in any. I have a favourite because the discussion is interesting. Mick West is the name of that person. Thank you, JC Aruzia. So Sean Carroll is Mindscape. Aha! So getting all the names muddled up and wrong at the moment, aren't we? Captain D is great, says ASFD. Yeah, Captain Dissolution, wonderful, wonderful content creator. Just one of those absolute gems of YouTube, right? But what are we talking about? Favourite conspiracy theories? I mean, I got deep into 9/11, but no longer really subscribed to any of that at the time when it became a thing a few years later. I was a young person. I didn't really have a lot of like reasoning powers, or just kind of got sucked into the narrative of those documentaries that got circulated around. And what really broke the illusion for me on that was I had a friend who was really into planes and loved anything to do with planes and knew how air traffic control worked. And they had an expert on this documentary that they brought in who was explaining like how it had to be orchestrated because there was no way the planes could have reached, gone off the grid that far and reached the towers, right? And says that, you know, every plane is in constant communication with air traffic control, and they would have noticed as soon as it had gone off grid. Then my mate's like, no, that's not how it works at all. Like, the planes will check in, and the air traffic control will be expecting planes to check in, but, you know, if they don't check in, there's not much they can do about it. And it just kind of blew my mind, you know. It was this whole, like, I thought this documentary was, like, showing us an expert, but this expert has it wrong apparently. There's something wrong with this here. I can't quite put my finger on it. But I don't think I need to. I think I'm just going to leave it be. Now that we've built such a massive portion of it, it'd be a good time to decide if I like this or not, because it is kind of big and bulky. Okay, so that kind of looks alright, I think. It really does. I think if it were like that all the way around, it might look a little uninteresting, but how it's going to contact with these sort of spots over here with the land, it's probably going to end up looking alright. They bring up experts supporting their point of view. It's not always someone who actually knows everything about the subject, says I Live Cats. Absolutely right. Yep, they bring on people that will support their view. And I think there are situations even where experts can be experts and have differing opinions on things, right? But there was such a blind mistake, and like that's when I started to kind of try and listen to different views a bit more, and that sort of set me on a path of being far more into that kind of middle ground area, like seeing things from both sides, understanding where we as humans can be a bit fallible in our opinions or perceptions, and then there's a whole world of media dedicated to things like that, you know, books and video essays you can watch on like the shortcomings of our own human perception and experience, and that stuff really plays into conspiracy theories and ghosts and all this kind of stuff, you know. So I don't really, what was the question again? Favorite conspiracy theory? Like the 9/11 one's really fascinated me. The moon stuff still fascinates me a little bit. The one thing of all the different like back and forths on the moon, there were two things about the whole did we go to the moon or not that kind of stuck with me. One of them is a lot of experts talk about radiation belts that exist, and these seem to be, based on what I've heard people talk about again and again, they seem to be very real things, that there are big belts of radiation that would kill people, like out in the space between the moon and Earth, and that the odds of us getting there and back were kind of like astronomically small. But it sort of sounds like maybe we just got that amount of astronomical luck somehow. I can't really remember the specifics because it's been a while since I've delved into it. So there's the radiation belts, and the other thing was that at the time that I watched this documentary when I was like a teenager, they didn't have the technology to look on the surface of the moon to see the remnants of the moon landing. Very good way to verify if it happened or not, right? And then Japan was supposed to have something like a new telescope built, and it was going to be with us in 5 years. Well, obviously like 20 years have passed, and I've never seen an image of the moon's surface and what's on it. And I don't know if it's possible to do that yet, if anyone has done that and publicly released it. It's something I would really like to see, and it might be out there. I just haven't researched it. I'm not saying that any of this means that we didn't land on the moon. I'm pretty like on board with it seems like we did. You know, it really does. But those were just two little hang-ups from learning about all of it. Jessica says if it were faked, the Russians would have exposed it straight away. I mean, have the Russians ever tried to say it was fake? I don't know if they have or they haven't. I remember some Russian scientists in one of those documentaries seemed to be pretty adamant that we hadn't have gone there because of the radiation belts. In fact, I think the reason the Russians didn't is because of the radiation belts. They decided the risk was too great. But kind of the long time since my brain has accessed those old memories. Asuma, your video is trending on gaming. Really? Oh, I gotta go check that out. It tells you, doesn't it, on the video page? I mean, it makes sense because it's like a new Minecraft update, but that's always cool to see. They left mirrors that we can shine, lasers that provide Americans did go to the moon. Yeah, I've heard someone mention that, I think in one of these streams before, that there's mirrors that they, like, you know, zap at, to, probably for science research and whatnot. Yeah, anyway, like I said, I don't not believe, like, you know, I think we went to the moon. It's just the questions that get asked are interesting. Just sometimes it's who's asking them and what are their agenda, you know. What is your least favourite conspiracy, says Memo? Probably Flat Earth and what's the other one? The whole spraying the vapours thing, spraying chemicals on people. Like, they just sound like really bad ideas, and then people go to really far lengths to try and support these ideas. And I really don't like this idea of like big industry. It's all a ploy to make money. The scientists are just trying to make money, and scientists, most of them don't like live rich and lavish lives. They are pretty like working class, you know, or middle working class, upper, lower, middle working class. I am upper class. I am upper class. Upper, middle, lower class. That's from a song. But yeah, like it's not a good reason for having a theory is like motivation, because you don't know the motivations. Like this is it's literally built on people you've never met or don't know anything about. That all these scientists, right? They're not your mates. You don't know their hopes and dreams, the things that they fear. You don't know what motivates them to do their work. Yet you got a grand theory that actually the globe is flat and they're doing it for money, right? It's just so bizarre. It's just such one of the weirdest ways to orchestrate a hoax to make money. It's so much effort. Like, oh god, you could pick something so much easier, you know? So much easier. Like, it's really ridiculous. And I think it's people who get sucked into it are just sort of caught in the wrong thought circles, right? Caught in the wrong thinking patterns. X, you should watch Little Hitler by Adult Swim. What is that? Is that like a would you go back and kill baby Hitler type thing? The CIA started to use people like Alex Jones to discredit the term conspiracy theory. Oh, I well and truly believe that. I remember a BBC. I am a big critic of the BBC. I do not like the BBC. I think they're, to be fair, I think they're pretty biased. And the way that other people talk about the BBC, I think that people don't see it. But the BBC have this knack for talking very plainly about something and sounding very uninvested and non-biased. Yet it's the information that they choose to present that is the problem. Like, we have a Labour leader over here who's very controversial in terms of the media constantly try to find something about this guy to discredit him. And there's this whole stuff about anti-Semitism around him that makes no sense whatsoever, because he has a history of being involved in all sorts of movements for people. What would you call it? Like, you know, very compassionate oriented things that he gets involved with. And yet, like, any time someone talks about him being anti-Semitic, the BBC will write an article on it. And, you know, when they do like opinion polls on stuff, they kind of frame it like they'll ask for people's opinions on something, but they'll pick out the opinions that suit their agenda to show you, right? So imagine if you're running like a news show and you've got something you want to get across. So you go out on the street and you interview 100 people, and 5 people give you the opinion you want and 95 don't. I'm not saying these are exact things that happened, but you take the 5 people and you show all of their opinions alongside one of those 95 people that didn't agree with you, and you make that into a news article. Someone reading that might think that 5 out of 6 people have that opinion, when it's actually 5 out of 100, right? That's what the BBC do. I see them do it a lot. It really winds me up reading the BBC sometimes, especially with the whole anti-Semitism thing. It's so bizarre that it seems to be like rooted in very little other than someone seems to bring it up every other day, and then they write massive articles about it, and it links to all their other articles about someone's talking about it again, kind of thing. That's just what the BBC do. Why did we start talking about the BBC? So yeah, Alex Jones, right? Now, I watched a few of Alex Jones's things way back before he was really that known, when he used to go around with a a handheld camera recorder and sort of gate crash events of the elite and ask questions about them. Now, there are events of the elite where world leaders meet up behind closed doors and you don't know what they discuss about, and that stuff is kind of fishy and suspect, and he used to go and shine a light on that, and I found that really interesting. And then, like, time passed, I lost interest in watching those kind of things, and then when I found out about him again, he had become this sort of hokey-cokey character of, like, who just seems to go mad and ramble on about some really bizarre stuff, right? And he was brought onto the BBC, and it was over a subject that wasn't really about conspiracy theories, but he was so clearly brought in to give a bad name to the cause that the BBC were clearly trying to put down. I think it had something to do with the London riots, actually, which were, that was a whole event that I could talk about again. But anyway, like, all of a sudden he comes in, and it's just like he gets a cue to go mad and bonkers, and you know, I don't think he works for them. It's just he's the perfect character to bring on if you want to discredit something, because he's so nuts. He just gets so animated and irate about it. It doesn't really matter if what he's saying has any truth grounded in it. He just somehow minces things into the worst version of the truth, and the way in which he shouts and screams at the camera just discredits, because it's just so silly. Anyway, so they brought him on, and it made the argument look really bad. And I was like, but why did you bring him on? He's got nothing to do with this. He just seemed to turn up, shout, look like a madman, and then they cut the camera, because, you know, on television there's no time for a proper or thoughtful discussion. It's all about bite-sized getting to the bit they want to talk about. So he turned the frogs gay. Yeah, I mean, he said loads of memeable stuff, right? So anyway, there is things that Alex Jones says that have some element of truth in them. There was some legislation revolving around children who I think were, oh god, I can't remember it, like aborted. They were in a horrible situation where they were going to be born to a mother that for whatever reason couldn't keep the child or didn't want to, and they would have to be aborted, but they'd have to do it after they were birthed, and then they would then be able to be resuscitated for medical research or something. Anyway, like, the story is grounded in some truth. There is some legislation that can look fishy and can enable strange things to happen inside of this system. But when he talks about it, he starts shouting, and he starts saying they're taking our babies, they're harvesting their organs, and it's just such a terrible way to talk about things, right? And even if there's sometimes like a grain of truth in what he's saying, the way he talks about it is just so bizarre. Like, he goes on about human animal hybrids, right? He starts shouting, he goes raving mad. They're making human animal hybrids, doing his Alex Jones things. Turns off a lot of people. Now you think this guy's mad. The element of truth in the story is that there has been embryonic research done where they fuse elements of human DNA and animal DNA together. Now, this doesn't mean that they've created an army of, you know, like centurions, half horse, half men that are coming for you, and it's part of a global conspiracy. It's just a form of research somewhere that's been done. And he's managed to take like a gem, not even a gem, just a piece of truth like that, and conflate it into something utterly bizarre. And then he shouts and raves about it. And it's really quite disappointing, because some of the subject matter he would cover may have like an actual level of interest and value to people who want to learn about what's going on in the world of science, but he just turns it into, oh, centurion, centaurs. I got it wrong, Dodar. You know, half man, half horse, whatever they're called. T-Bone Rising says Joe Rogan's interview with him and Eddie Bravo was absolute gold. That's like a 5-hour podcast, and it really like shines a light, I think, on what's going on in that guy's head. I mean, he says at one point or another himself that he thinks he's crazy. Anyway, I know him being on there was like controversial to some extent, but I think what's not controversial is putting something out there that's like honest and authentic. You can go watch that podcast and you can get a real sense of like what this person's like. And I think people misunderstand that Joe is like a friend of his. You can have a friend who has the wrong opinion, air quotes, or can be a bit on the kooky side. Like, we're all people, and we know people are flawed. And I think him going on there was, I know why it upsets people, and I can understand how, in the wrong mindset or with the wrong impression of someone, like you could maybe if you're young and you take someone like Alex Jones by the word, that could be quite damaging and wrong, and I understand that concern. But I think as like a mature person who can like think beyond just what's coming in, what's being said, like I really don't think it's harmful. I think it's more harmful to try and shut down that kind of stuff, Anyway, like this is the beginning of like a whole other subject right here. So, I'm just looking at chat now. Yeah, Nexon says Joe Rogan doesn't have a young audience. He doesn't, but like it's the internet. Anyone can go watch anything. So it is a tricky one, the whole age of audience and whatnot. But yeah, anyway, that had some controversy around it, so I thought I'd state my opinion on that. That I really do think, like, as a mature person, you should be able to watch something and be able to separate the nonsense and see what's really going on. Which, in the context of that podcast, was really just friends hanging out, Anyway, Darth Hello is here, subscribing to Amazon Prime. Marilyn Miner is resubscribing 42 months in a row, saying, what a conversation to start the week with. Always interesting in the Asumaverse. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. God, that we could go from here into so many other conversations, right? I'm looking at chat. Everyone's got questions. Bring your questions to the next stream, and I'll keep talking about them because apparently this is good. Oh. I'm just reading all the messages now. It's quite interesting. Oh my god! Ghost have released a new EP. Thank you for telling me, Wayward. Oh my god. That's going on the post-stream list. I will eat that up very quickly. Very, very quickly. Hi, how you doing? Let's go grab a random Minecraft channel to raid. And I'll tell you what, I've got one right here. The LPMT server. My own server. Domino's playing on there again, so we're going to go raid Domino. Be sure to hit the raid button in chat, peeps. This is the end of the stream. I want to thank you ever so much for subscribing, resubscribing, donating and cheering. Thank you to all of my patrons. Be sure to go and follow my new channel, Asuma Says. If you enjoyed the conversation of this stream, it's full of content like that. Anyway, hit that raid button, and I'll see you over there. Bye-bye.